The humidity hits you first thick, syrupy, and clinging to your skin like a living thing. The night hums with frogs and crickets, and you can almost taste the swamp on your tongue, decay, salt, and something ancient underneath it all. You are standing on a splintered dock somewhere deep in the Louisiana bayou, the kind of place where GPS gives up and the map folds in on itself. The locals told you not to come here alone. They said the swamp talks to those who listen too closely. You laughed at that back in town. But now, with the moon hanging low and the water black as oil, you are not so sure. Subscribe and ring the bell for more dark stories. You whisper into the mic, voice trembling just a little. You do not know why you said it, aloud it is instinct. Habit. Something to fill the silence. But the moment you stop talking, you hear it, a faint whisper that is not yours. It drifts across the water, soft and slurred, like someone calling from a great distance. You hold your breath. The sound fades. You exhale. Then it comes again, closer this time. You swing your flashlight toward the sound. The beam cuts through the mist and catches a ripple, a disturbance spreading in slow circles. The bayou looks empty, but your gut tells you it is not. You think about the stories, the fisherman who followed the voices and was found days later, eyes open, floating face up. The couple who heard laughter echo through the cypress trees and never made it back to shore. They called it the Whispering Swamp. Nobody knows who or what is speaking. Some say it is the ghosts of enslaved people who tried to escape through these waters and never made it. Others say it is something older, born before the South had a name. You take one cautious step closer to the edge of the dock. The boards creak. The water below shimmers faintly, as if stirred by something just beneath the surface. Then a voice clear, sharp, unmistakable says your name. You freeze. The flashlight shakes in your hand. Your name echoes again, distorted, dragging through the air like it is moving through mud. You spin around nothing but trees, vines, and shadows. You tell yourself it is the wind. It has to be. But then the sound changes. It becomes a melody, a low hum that rises and falls, almost like someone is singing just under the water. You drop to one knee, pointing the light downward. The reflection on the surface is yours until it is not. For a split second, another face flickers beside yours, pale, wet, eyes wide open. You stumble back, nearly falling. The dock groans beneath your weight. The singing grows louder. You can feel it now, vibrating through the wood, pulsing like a heartbeat. You glance at your phone, it is recording, but the screen flickers, static crawling across the display. You grab your pack, ready to run, when you hear something heavy splash behind you. You turn just in time to see bubbles rise from the black water, one after another. Slow, deliberate, then a hand pale, dripping, the fingers thin as reeds breaks the surface. It reaches toward the dock, scraping the wood with its nails. Another hand follows. You back away, heart pounding. The thing does not climb out. It just hovers there, half emerged, as if deciding whether to show itself. And then, without warning, it speaks not in words, but in your own voice. Perfectly mimicked. Stay, it says. Just a little longer. The whisper ripples through your bones. The swamp seems to lean closer, the trees bending inwards. You drop the flashlight, its beam rolling wildly across the dock before plunging into the water. The last thing you see before the light disappears is that pale hand slipping back beneath the surface. You run. Through the mud, through the dark, branches tearing at your clothes. Behind you, the whisper turns to laughter low, bubbling, endless. You do not stop until the trees thin and the first hints of dawn stain the horizon pink. When you finally look back, the swamp is silent again. But you know the sound will follow you. It always does. Because once you have heard the whispers, the swamp does not forget your name. By the time you reach Mississippi, the air feels different, lighter on the lungs, but heavy with memory. The road twists through miles of old farmland, quiet and empty, until the trees part to reveal what you came for, a sprawling plantation house, its white columns cracked and weeping vines. The gate hangs open, as if waiting. Locals call it Belchain, though no one remembers why. They say the family who built it vanished overnight in 1872. Not moved away, not dead, vanished. Every clock in the house stopped at the same time, 3:07 a.m. And no one ever lived there again. You park your car at the edge of the drive, dust swirling around the headlights, and grab your camera. The house looms above you, windows dark, porch sagging, a skeletal monument to greed and grief. All right, you murmur to the lens. Second stop on our Deep South mystery road trip. The cursed plantation of Belchain. Your voice sounds steadier than you feel. You take a step toward the porch, boots crunching on gravel. The air smells of wet wood and iron. You notice the cicadas have gone silent. The quiet feels staged, like the house is holding its breath. You lift the camera and push the door open. It creaks a long, painful sound that echoes through the empty hall. Inside, it is colder. Dust motes drift through narrow beams of morning light. The grand staircase rises before you, its banister polished smooth by time and absence. Portraits hang crooked on the walls, painted faces with cracked eyes that seem to follow you. You think you see movement at the top of the stairs, but when you look again, it is gone. You wander room to room, parlor, library, dining hall. The furniture still stands where it was left. A tea set sits mid-pour, sugar spilled like bone dust across the table. You brush your hand against the wallpaper. It peels away easily, revealing symbols carved beneath spirals, crosses, something that looks like an eye. In the library, a fireplace yawns black and empty. A single book lies open on the hearth, a family ledger. You flip through the brittle pages, tracing names written in ink faded brown. There is the master, his wife, 3 children, a dozen servants. Then, abruptly, the entries stop. The last line reads, "The house is awake." You feel something behind you. The air tightens, pressing against your back. You turn slowly. Nothing. Just the doorway, the hall beyond. But the silence has changed. It is no longer empty. It is listening. You move upstairs, each step groaning beneath your weight. Halfway up, you catch a faint reflection in a framed mirror, someone standing behind you. You spin around, heart hammering. No one's there. But the mirror still shows a figure, tall and thin, standing exactly where you are not. Your breath catches. The reflection tilts its head, curious, almost amused. You take one step back, and the figure takes one step forward. Then, without warning, the mirror cracks down the center. You stumble back into the hallway. The lights, though there are none, begin to flicker, and somewhere in the house, you hear music. A piano, soft and uneven, playing a tune that sounds both elegant and broken. You follow it because that is what you do. Is not it, you chase the story. The melody leads you to a child's room. The walls are faded pink, the ceiling sagging. The piano sits in the corner, keys yellowed, half its strings snapped. And yet it is playing, slowly, repeating the same few notes. A doll sits on the stool, head tilted, porcelain hand pressed to the keys. You stand frozen as the song ends on a discordant note, echoing through the hall. Then, from downstairs, comes the sound of footsteps. Heavy, deliberate, moving toward the front door. You rush to the window. Through the warped glass, you see candlelight flickering in the parlor. One flame, then 2, then 6, each hovering in midair. A shadow passes between them. You whisper, "Who is there?" No answer. Just that strange music again, faint and mournful. You feel drawn to it, almost hypnotized, until a gust of cold air sweeps through the hall and slams the door shut. The sound is deafening. When you finally force it open, the piano is silent. The candles are gone. But the doll once seated now lies on the floor, its porcelain face shattered. You pick up the camera and back away slowly. Every portrait in the hall now faces the staircase. And at the top of those stairs, something stands watching. You can't make out the face, but you can see it smiling. You do not remember running to the car. You just remember the house fading in the rearview mirror, the lights still flickering in its windows as if the family never left at all. The highway out of Mississippi bleeds into Alabama, and before long, you are surrounded by endless pines, tall, straight, and eerily uniform. They sway gently in the late afternoon wind, but you do not hear the rustle you expect. It is quieter here, the kind of silence that smothers sound instead of holding it. You roll down your window. The air smells like resin and rain, sharp and clean, but somehow empty. You came chasing a story, the one the locals won't talk about, the one they bury under campfire laughter and awkward glances. In 1998, 6 teenagers from a nearby town disappeared somewhere in these woods. No blood, no tracks, no note. Just their tent, half collapsed and slick with dew, their sleeping bags lined up neatly beside a cold fire pit, as if they were planning to come back. You park near what is left of the old ranger station. The building leans against itself like it is tired of standing. Grass has swallowed the trailhead sign. You grab your flashlight, recorder, and notebook rituals of the trade and step into the forest. The trail starts wide, then narrows. Soon you are walking through a corridor of green shadow, light barely filtering through the canopy. The deeper you go, the more it feels like walking into a throat that does not want to spit you back out. At first, it is peaceful. The soft crunch of pine needles, the hum of insects, the occasional thud of a falling cone. Then, a sound low and rhythmic joins in. It is faint, almost like a heartbeat. You pause, listening. It fades. You tell yourself it is just the wind playing tricks, but the wind does not pulse like that. Half an hour later, you find at the campsite. The yellow tent, still standing after all these years, mold streaking its sides. Sleeping bags rolled tight, arranged in a perfect semicircle. A rusted lantern sits in the center, unlit but upright. There is no debris, no signs of struggle, not even footprints. Just the faint scent of something sweet, like honeysuckle and rot. You set your recorder down. This is the site, you say softly. Everything's still here, even after 27 years. You crouch beside the fire pit. The ashes look recent, as if someone had been here last night. You touch them cold. Something moves in the corner of your eye. A shadow between trees. You swing your light toward it, but the forest looks the same dense, endless, and watching. Then you hear it again. The heartbeat. Louder now. You turn off the flashlight. Maybe it is an animal. Maybe it is your own pulse. You hold your breath. The sound does not stop. It is coming from the ground. You kneel, pressing your ear to the dirt. A steady thump, slow and deliberate, like something enormous breathing deep below. You stand quickly, heart hammering. The trees seem to close in, the air thickening around you. Then you hear a laugh. High-pitched, familiar. You have heard it before on an old tape from the police archive. One of the missing teens, giggling as she counted to 3 during a group video. 1, 2. The voice fades. You whisper 3. The forest answers. Every direction erupts at once a dozen voices, overlapping, laughing, screaming, whispering your name. You spin in circles, light slicing through trunks and fog. Figures dart between the trees. Too fast to be real. Too wrong to be imagined. You grab your camera, desperate to capture something, anything but the screen glitches, the audio spiking with static. For a brief second, you see them, 6 figures standing just beyond the circle of light, faces blurred, outlines pulsing with that same heartbeat rhythm. They stand perfectly still, heads tilted in unison. You take one step forward, and every light, flashlight, camera, phone dies. Total blackness. The laughter stops. Silence. Then whispering. So soft you can barely tell where it is coming from. You turn slowly, hands trembling, and see faint glows forming around you like candlelight, except they are floating midair, drifting closer. A whisper inches from your ear We came back. You stumble backward, tripping over a root. The lights vanish. You run, the forest blurring into streaks of green and gray. The trail is gone. Every direction looks the same. You keep moving, guided by panic alone, until the trees thin and your car's shape looms through the dark. You slam the door, turn the key, and peel away, gravel spitting beneath your tires. For miles, the road stays empty. Then, in the rearview mirror, you see something faint, 6 small figures standing at the edge of the woods, watching your taillights fade. You blink, and they are gone. Later, when you review the footage, it is all static except one line of distorted audio. A girl's voice, warped but clear enough to chill your blood. You should not have listened. The road stretches flat and endless as you cross the Texas border. By now, you have grown used to the silence between places, those long, humming hours where the only sound is your engine and whatever plays in your head. But the silence out here feels heavier. There are no trees, no swamps, no whispers, just open desert and a horizon that never seems to move. You are driving toward Marfa, a small town at the edge of nowhere. Population barely 2,000. It is famous, or maybe infamous, for its lights, those strange glowing orbs that appear over the desert at night. Some call them UFOs. Others say they are the ghosts of conquistadors or lanterns of lost travelers still trying to find their way home. You just want to see them for yourself. The sun bleeds out behind the mountains as you pull onto a gravel turnout known as the Marfa viewing area. A handful of tourists cluster near the fence, murmuring into the dark. Their voices fade with the wind. You set up your camera on a tripod, point it toward the horizon, and wait. The desert night swallows everything. You can see every star, sharp and cold. The wind tastes of dust and iron. You check your gear batteries full, lenses clean. Then, around 10:47 p.m., it happens. A light flickers to the south. Then another. 2 perfect spheres, hovering just above the ground, pulsing softly like fireflies on the horizon. You raise your camera. They move slowly at first, then dart sideways, impossibly fast. One splits into 3. The others blink out, then reappear in a different place altogether. You whisper into the mic, they are real. They are actually real. The crowd behind you murmurs. A man laughs nervously. A child points. But then, one of the lights breaks away from the rest. It drifts upward, smooth and deliberate, until it stops directly above the viewing area. The laughter dies instantly. You stare up, the glow reflecting in your eyes. It is brighter now, shifting colors, white to blue to red, then back to white again. The light seems to breathe, expanding and contracting, and as it pulses, you hear something. Not a sound, exactly more like a vibration inside your skull, deep and steady. The others do not seem to notice. They are whispering, filming, reacting. You are the only one frozen, the only one who feels that strange pull. The light tilts slightly, as if focusing on you. You take an involuntary step forward. The vibration grows stronger. Images flash through your mind, places you have been, faces you have seen, things you have not told anyone. The swamp, the plantation, the forest, all of it collapsing into one breathless moment of recognition. Then the light flickers and disappears. The desert goes dark. You blink against the afterimage burned into your eyes. When your vision clears, the others are gone. The parking lot is empty. The fence, the benches, even the sound of wind gone. You are alone. You spin around, scanning the horizon. The lights are back, dozens of them now, floating closer. The ground hums beneath your boots. You grab your camera, but the screen is black. A faint static buzz seeps from the mic. Hello, you call out. Your voice sounds small, swallowed by the night. One of the lights darts toward you, stopping a few feet away. It is not as bright up close. You can see movement inside it, a swirling haze, something shifting within. You reach out without thinking, hand trembling, fingertips brushing the edge of the glow. It is warm, too warm. The world tilts sideways. Suddenly, you are standing somewhere else. The same desert, but wrong. The sky glows orange, the stars moving like fish in water. You hear faint music, an old fiddle tune, thin and warbling, echoing from nowhere. Shapes move in the distance. People maybe. You call out again, but your voice does not carry. Then the light reappears, hovering inches from your face. Inside it, you see your reflection, but not as you are. Your eyes are blank, your mouth open in a silent scream. The glow flares bright, blinding you. When you wake, you are lying beside your car. The sun is rising. The parking lot is full again. People, cars, chatter. Everything looks normal, except your camera is gone. You stumble to your feet, disoriented. A woman nearby glances at you and frowns. "Rough night?" she asks. You nod, trying to steady your breathing. Then she says you missed it. They showed up right after midnight. Everyone saw them. You look at the horizon where the lights once danced, and for a moment, you think you see one flicker again just for you. You can't tell if it is real or something that followed you back. Midnight in Clarksdale, Mississippi. The air hums with old blues notes so low and heavy they seem to crawl across the pavement. You pull off Highway 61 and park beside a cracked sign that simply reads, "The Crossroads." The streetlights buzz dimly, casting amber halos across the empty intersection. Somewhere far away, a harmonica wails. You have heard the story 100 times, Robert Johnson, the blues man who played so well it sounded like the devil himself had tuned his strings. The legend says he came here to this very spot and sold his soul for fame. People laugh when they tell it, but you are not laughing now, because this place does not feel like a story. It feels like a wound that never healed. You step out of the car, gravel crunching under your boots. The heat clings to your clothes, thick and sticky, though the night should be cool. The air smells faintly of metal and rain. You set your camera on the hood, hit record, and speak softly. Part 5. The Devil's Crossroads, Clarksdale, Mississippi. They say if you come here at midnight, something listens. You wait. The sound of a lone guitar drifts on the wind, one slow, sorrowful note, bending into the night. You glance around. The street is empty. A church steeple looms in the distance, its bell long rusted still. The music continues, closer now, though there is no one to play it. You whisper, "Who is there?" The reply is not words. It is laughter, low, slow, almost kind. Then silence. You step into the middle of a crossroads, the faded white lines splitting beneath your feet. The moon hangs directly above, pale as bone. And that is when you see him. At first, he is just a shadow at the edge of your headlights. Then he steps forward. A man in an old suit, the kind worn in photographs that smell of dust and time. His hat shades most of his face, but you catch the glint of his smile. He is tall, elegant, his movements too smooth to be real. You come for a story. His voice is soft, slow, soaked in honey and smoke. You swallow hard. Maybe. He chuckles, low in his throat. Everybody does. He taps the ground with the tip of his shoe, leaving a small, black mark that does not fade. But stories cost. You glance toward your car. The engine looks impossibly far away. You think about running, but something holds you. There's something magnetic in his tone. "What do you want?" you ask. He lifts his head slightly, and for the first time, you see his eyes. They are not red or glowing. They are just empty, deep like a sky without stars. "Same thing I always want," he says. "A little company." He gestures toward your camera. You want to be remembered, do not you? That is what you are doing out here. Chasing ghosts to keep from becoming one. You can't speak. He steps closer. The air around him bends, shimmering like heat over asphalt. You smell something sweet and burnt, like old whiskey on fire. "Say the word," he whispers, "and I will give you all the stories you could ever tell." You shake your head, but the temptation slithers in every headline, every mystery, every secret that has ever haunted the South, whispered straight into your ear. He grins wider, sensing the thought. You do not have to say yes, he says. You already did. A car passes, suddenly a flash of headlights, a burst of sound, and the figure vanishes. The crossroads is empty again. You stand there, sweating, disoriented, the hum of the blues echoing faintly from nowhere. You stumble back to your car, breathing hard. On the hood, your camera light still blinks red. Recording. You grab it, hit stop, and check the playback. At first, it is just you, standing alone in the road. Then, for 2 seconds barely long enough to be real, you see a shape behind you. Tall, hat brim low, smiling at the lens. Then, the feed cuts to static. You sit in the driver's seat, hands shaking, trying to convince yourself it was a trick of the light. But your reflection in the rearview mirror looks different somehow. Older. Tired. There is a faint smudge at the corner of your mouth like soot, or maybe ash. You reach up to wipe it away. It does not come off. From somewhere in the distance, a guitar chord rings out sweet, clean, perfect. It sounds exactly like the opening note of a deal. And then it fades, leaving you alone with the silence. By the time you cross into Georgia, the map feels useless. The GPS freezes, the compass spins, and the narrow dirt road stretches on without direction. The trees on either side grow taller, denser, their branches tangling overhead until the sky disappears. You keep driving because stopping feels worse. Eventually, the forest parts just enough to reveal a small wooden sign. Welcome to East Haven. You have never heard of it. It is not on any map. The town appears like a mirage, a collection of worn houses, sagging porches, and faded paint. Smoke curls from a few chimneys, but you do not see anyone outside. No cars. No dogs. No sound but the soft creak of a wind through shutters. You step out of your car, camera in hand, gravel crunching beneath your boots. The air smells faintly of rain and rust. East Haven, you whisper into the mic. Population unknown. A ghost town that is not empty. You start down the main street. Curtains shift in the windows as you pass. A figure stands on one porch, an old man in overalls, motionless, eyes following you. You lift your hand in a small wave. He does not wave back. You try to ask about the town, but your voice dies in your throat. The stillness feels wrong, like the air itself does not want to carry sound. You keep walking. A woman appears at a doorway, clutching a rosary. A child peeks from behind her skirt, staring with glassy eyes. You stop. Hey there, you say, forcing a smile. Can you tell me what happened here? The woman shakes her head slowly, lips barely moving. We do not talk about it. Her voice is barely a breath. We just stay. She closes the door. You record everything: the silent streets, the boarded-up church, the clock tower frozen at exactly 11:11. You think about how the clocks in the plantation stopped at 3:07, how the forest pulsed like a heartbeat, how the swamp whispered your name. Every place you have been seems to bleed into the next, as if the South itself is trying to speak through its scars. The church draws you in. Its doors hang half open, and a low hum seeps through the cracks. Inside it is dim, the air thick with candle smoke and mold. The pews are filled, but the people sitting there are not moving. They face forward, hands clasped, eyes open and unfocused. You whisper, "What are you praying for?" No one answers. You step closer and the floorboards groan. The hum grows louder, vibrating through your chest. It is not chanting, it is something else. A word repeated over and over, too soft to understand. You move down the aisle, camera shaking, breath shallow. At the front of the church stands a pulpit carved with strange marking spirals, eyes, crosses, the same symbols you saw beneath the wallpaper in Mississippi. Behind it, a large clock hangs crooked on the wall. Its hands twitch, jerking slightly, like something inside it is trying to move. You lift your camera, zooming in. The hands jump once more and stop at 11, 12. Then, a sound behind you, a scrape, slow and deliberate. You turn. Every person in the pews is now facing you. Their heads tilt at the same angle, eyes wide, lips moving in unison. The word they are whispering grows clear. Remember. You stumble backward, tripping over a step. The whisper becomes a drone, rising in pitch, filling every inch of the church until it feels like the walls might burst. The candles flare, spilling wax across the floor. The clock hands spin wildly, the glass cracking, gears screaming. You drop the camera and run. Outside, the sky is burning orange, though the sun has not set. The streets are empty again. The air feels thick, heavy, impossible to breathe. You glance back at the church just as its bell tolls a deep, mechanical groan that rattles your bones. When it stops, the world is silent again. But the silence feels wrong, stretched thin, as if something enormous just inhaled. You reach your car and fumble for the keys. The road behind you looks different, narrower, darker. You drive anyway, gravel spraying behind you, heart pounding against your ribs. The rearview mirror shows only fog. Hours later, or maybe minutes, you find yourself back on the main highway. The GPS flickers to life, recalculating your route as if nothing happened. You pull over, gasping for air. The camera sits on the passenger seat, cracked but still recording. You pick it up. The screen glows faintly, showing the church interior. But in the footage, there is someone standing at the pulpit, someone who was not there before. It is you. You watch as your reflection looks straight into the lens, eyes black and hollow, lips forming the same word the townsfolk whispered. Remember. The screen goes dark. You sit in your car, trembling, watching the dawn bleed across the horizon. The road home is waiting. But the South does not let go that easily. The storm catches you somewhere between Georgia and South Carolina. Sheets of rain blur the windshield, the wipers useless against the deluge. Thunder rolls across the sky in long, angry waves, shaking the steering wheel in your hands. You should stop, pull over, wait it out, but the name of the place pulls you forward, whispering from the map's faded ink like a dare. You find it near midnight, an old steel bridge cutting across the Black River, swallowed by trees and shadow. The locals call it Crybaby Bridge, though no one agrees which tragedy gave it that name. Some say a mother jumped with her infant during a flood 100 years ago. Others swear it was a lover's pact gone wrong. Whatever the truth, they all agree on one thing: when storms roll in, the bridge screams. The rain eases as you step out, replaced by a thick mist that glows faintly in the beam of your flashlight. The river below churns brown and restless. You start recording. They say you can still hear her, you whisper. A scream carried on the water when lightning strikes. You walk to the center of the bridge. The metal beneath your boots groans with age. You lean against the railing, watching the river twist beneath you. Every few seconds, lightning tears through the clouds, illuminating the world in flashes, trees like bones, water like muscle, sky like an open wound. For a moment, there is nothing. No whisper, no cry, no haunting melody. Just rain on metal and the hollow thud of your heartbeat. Then the air shifts. The temperature drops, so suddenly your breath clouds the air. The river stills. The storm holds its breath. You hear it soft at first, almost gentle. A whimper drifting through the mist. You strain to listen. It comes again, louder. A child's cry, echoing from beneath the bridge. You lean over the railing, flashlight beam slicing through the fog. The sound stops. The beam catches on something pale in the water, a shape, small and unmoving, floating just below the surface. You drop the light. It bounces once on the steel before plunging into the current. Darkness swallows you. The cry starts again, but this time it is not a child. It is sharper, older, filled with grief, so heavy it feels alive. The bridge begins to tremble. You back away, but the metal vibrates beneath your feet, resonating with that terrible sound. You cover your ears, it does not help. The scream is not in the air anymore. It is inside your skull. You stumble toward the car, slipping on the wet steel, gasping as the air thickens around you. Another flash of lightning, and for a split second, you see her. Standing in the middle of the bridge, drenched, hair plastered to her face, arms clutching something invisible to her chest. Her head tilts toward you. You can't move. The rain freezes midair. The thunder stops mid-roll. She opens her mouth, and the sound that pours out is not human. It is the same pitch as the bridge itself, a metallic scream that makes the world vibrate. The steel beneath you arches, bends, nearly lifts. You fall to your knees, covering your face, waiting for it to stop. Then silence. When you dare to look up, the woman is gone. The rain returns in a whisper. The river flows like nothing ever happened. You scramble to your feet and sprint toward the car, soaked and shaking. Inside, the world feels smaller, safer. You start the engine. The radio turns on by itself, static first, then a faint melody. A lullaby. The same tune you heard beneath the bridge. You kill the engine. The sound keeps playing. You reach for the camera on the passenger seat, but it is recording on its own. The lens points toward the windshield. You look up and there she is, standing in front of the car, her face inches from the glass, eyes white and bottomless. Her lips move, but you can't hear her words. The lullaby stops. Lightning flashes, and she is gone. You sit there for a long time, rain drumming on the roof, the smell of ozone sharp in your nose. Eventually, you drive away, leaving the bridge behind. But in your mirrors, for just a moment, you think you see water dripping from the back seat. Later, when you play the footage back, the camera captures a single sound, the faint cry of a baby, echoing beneath the thunder. You pause the recording. Behind you, the rain has stopped. The world is quiet again. Then, faintly, from somewhere far down the road, you hear it metal straining, the bridge screaming your name. You drive east until the road runs out, until the swamp, the forest, the desert, and every haunted place between them dissolve into one endless stretch of highway. The air is still, heavy with the scent of rain and gasoline. The sky hangs low and gray, like it is waiting for something. You should feel free, but you do not. You feel followed. Every radio station is static now. Every time you glance at the rearview mirror, you half expect to see someone in the back seat. Maybe you do. You can't tell anymore. The memories blur together: the whispering swamp, the cursed plantation, the vanishing teens, the lights, the deal, the town, the bridge. Every place a thread in the same strange web, each one humming faintly with the same rhythm. You tell yourself it is just fatigue, just your mind replaying the fear. But deep down, you know better. You have felt something watching since the first stop. You have heard it breathing through trees, singing through rivers, whispering your name through the rain. You have become part of the story now. You pull off at a rest stop somewhere outside Charleston. The place looks new, but empty, too clean, too quiet. You step out, stretch your legs, and glance around. The fluorescent lights buzz above, throwing pale halos over the wet asphalt. There is a vending machine, a few picnic tables, and a payphone that should not exist anymore. The payphone rings. You freeze. The sound is sharp, mechanical, slicing through the silence. You wait, counting the rings. 1, 2, 3. It stops, then starts again. You step closer. The phone keeps ringing. Against every instinct, you pick up the receiver. For a moment, there is nothing, just static, soft and distant. Then a voice. It is your own. You should not have come this far, it says. It is awake now. The line goes dead. You stare at the phone, heart pounding. The reflection in the glass booth wavers, the shape of your face rippling like water. Then, for a split second, it is not you staring back, it is the woman from the bridge. Her hair dripping, her smile too wide. You stumble backward, tripping over the curb. The lights above flicker, then go out completely. Darkness swallows the rest stop. Only the vending machine glows faintly, its hum turning into a low, rhythmic throb, the same pulse you heard beneath the Alabama pines. You run back to the car, slam the door, and lock it. The dashboard lights flicker weakly to life. The GPS screen glows white. No map, no signal, just a single line of text. You're home. You stare at it, your reflection ghosted on the screen. The words blink once, then change. Remember. The same word from East Haven. The same whisper that followed you through every stop. You reach for the ignition, but the engine's already running. The radio crackles to life, and through the static, you hear a faint melody, a blues riff, slow and deliberate. It is his song, the one Robert Johnson was said to have played after midnight. You grip the steering wheel tight. The world outside your windshield starts to change. The trees lean closer, their shapes bending and stretching. The mist thickens, glowing faintly from within. The asphalt ripples like water. You look up, and there they are, all of them. The lights of Marfa floating low and bright. The shadows of the vanished teens, pale and still. The woman from the bridge, standing in the center of the road, child in her arms. The man from the Crossroads, smiling, hat tilted just enough to hide his eyes. They do not move closer. They just wait, watching. The radio hum deepens, almost human now. For a moment, you think you hear words beneath the static, 6 voices speaking as one. We told you not to listen. You whisper, "What are you?" The answer comes like thunder, low and endless. "We are what is left behind." The lights surge. The road dissolves. You cover your eyes as the world folds inward, every scream and whisper blending into a single, deafening silence. When it clears, dawn is breaking. The car is parked outside your home. The camera sits on the passenger seat, still recording. You pick it up with shaking hands. The last seconds of the footage show you, sitting in the driver's seat, staring dead ahead. Behind you, faint shapes move in the reflection, faces pressed against the glass, watching. You turn slowly toward the back seat. Nothing there. You exhale, laughing weakly, trying to convince yourself it is over, that you made it out, that the South finally let you go. Outside, cicadas sing. The world feels normal again. You step out, stretch, and close your eyes. The wind is warm, the morning calm. But then, just as you turn toward the house, you hear it. A whisper, faint, familiar, drifting on the breeze. Your name. You freeze. The cicadas fall silent. The world holds its breath. And somewhere far away, through swamp and forest and river and road, something whispers back. The deep South never sleeps.